Hello everyone and welcome to Sportset TV Live. Today we're talking Taekwondo and we have the honor to welcome Myriam Bavrel, who had the entire spectrum. She started as an elite Taekwondo athlete and was able to win the silver Olympic medal in Athens in 2004. She also won the silver medal at the World Championships in 2003 in Germany, and then after that she transited into being one of the best coaches in the world, being elected World Taekwondo Coach of the Year 2 times in 2009 and 2013. That was the first time that a woman was elected Coach of the Year for World Taekwondo, and now she's in charge of the coaching education with the French Federation as well as the World Taekwondo Federation. Myriam, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for this very sympathetic introduction.
Nothing but the truth. So thank you so much. We're going to talk about many things. First of all, to go back on your career, the transition from athlete to coach, and then now what you do is being a specialist for analytics and to bring the side of trying to break down the sports to be able to chase performance. Let's start with your athlete career. As an athlete, even though you were performing and you were an athlete, you were always interested with the analytics side of things. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Sure. When I started Taekwondo very late. So I was 15 years old, and I come from another sport, ice skating. So Taekwondo wasn't my culture, and I could reach the high level very fast. But after my first Olympics after 2000 Olympic Games, I really wanted to know if I had the capacity to reach that medal. And of course, after only 3 years practice, I had to think how I was going to improve myself. And so I did really research that where I could have my specialty. And physically, I was in heavyweight. I was short, so I really worked hard on my capacity to have a high frequency of action. So I was able to gain that way. Mentally, I wasn't. I was afraid. As I told you, I came from ice skating, so being in a fighting sport was a little bit hard for me, and that was my biggest. I think my biggest good point is that at that moment I choose to act my performance on strategy, because I was able to replace my afraid, my scare, my fear.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to replace my fear in getting involved in strategy. So that's how I start, and I start to analyze all my opponent, how many points in attacks, how many points in defense, and what was the biggest point. And I was working myself alone before the training and after the training to fix that strategy before I came into the competition. At that time, video wasn't that easy to get. So, and if you didn't take the video, you couldn't have the video. So I did my own not video basis, but analytic base, and I was taking myself the data on live. And yes, I think it was certainly it explained why when I became coach, I was really able to explain how to use data and how use the strategy as a very interesting point to perform.
So many things that you said are already so interesting. First of all, you are doing that in an era, as you said, that it wasn't common, especially in Taekwondo, to do these analytics and to, as an athlete, you already focused enough on just performing, but you already were thinking about how to get ahead by taking advantage of strategy, which was now it sounds like it's okay, it's normal, but back then it was something completely different, especially in this sport. People didn't do that. So to do it as an athlete, to me, it's really remarkable. And something that you also said to me, and that is really inspiring, even for people that are starting but not at the highest level, is you were an elite Taekwondo fighter and you were still scared of getting hit. So it's good to hear from other people, who's just doing Taekwondo for fun, that this scaring factor, this fear factor is the same for everyone, and you just have to embrace it and to build your confidence, not through things that you cannot control, such as fear or things like this, but as you said, through preparation and also through analytics. That's how you get your confidence to go and perform at the highest level. So this is so interesting. So basically, once you were able to gather all this data, and as you said, you went and you had a first Olympic experience in Sydney, and then you were able to come back after making this training strategy for Athens. And you basically get to Athens and you manage to win the silver medal. Can you tell me in the biggest line what changed from Sydney to Athens in the process of what you engage in researching and analytics?
So for sure, it was in Athens, I knew what I was going to do. And it was totally different in Sydney. I was there and, okay, I wanted this medal, but I didn't even know how to get it and what was my really good point. So I think in Athens, I knew how I was going to make the difference. And I really worked hard on that. And when I arrived, the day D, I was really focused on what I have to do, the task I had to do this day. And that totally changed the day of the Olympics. The first one, I was absorbed by all the environment and I couldn't really perform. I wasn't there. I was somewhere else. And in Athens, I was really in my day of competition. At each second, in each fight I was there, and I was not believing that I was going to do it, but just focus on what to do at what moment, and it really makes me performing this day. And for your in Tokyo, it was the first time that I really watched the games only as a spectator, because every time I was involved in the games, even as athletes, then as coach, then as commentator for the TV. And this time it was my first time as really a spectator. And 20 years after, then I realized what I did in 2004, because it was I watched all the champions. They were performing that day, and for some of them they were stressed. They had a very heavy stress, and they performed. And it was my case, and I even didn't realize what I did. And it's just in Tokyo that when I watched Tokyo Olympic Games, that I realized how strong I was in my head, even if it wasn't I didn't knew at that moment that it was really my strength, and my head was my strength, because I was able to analyze, but also I was able to be in the moment. I was concentrated in my game, and I was also just my emotion wasn't there. And that's a big capacity for an athlete, that to put aside the emotions when it's the time to perform.
For sure. Well, that's really, really great information for people watching and trying to really optimize, preparation, confidence, being there on the day. So many good things to take from this feedback right there. But what would be your advice for athletes who prepare hard, who train, who try to give themselves this talk of, I'm there, I'll be here? What do you think is a good thing, a good advice you could share for athletes to make sure to combine everything on the day?
I think for me, it's the capacity to be there. It's very simple, but we know that because of the stress, there is a lot of think, and we are usually disconnected from the game because of our thoughts and our emotions. So the capacity to just be concentrate on the game, it's very easy to understand, very difficult to do, but it's the capacity to be there. And for all of athletes, they want to improve that. I think the mindfulness program for high level athletes is very, very interesting.
Nice. And would you say that in order to be there, you need at some point enjoy the moment? Or is this moment of, because a lot of athletes say, we interviewed them and they were going to Tokyo, and they say what makes the difference is saying, okay, I know I did the training, I'm prepared, I'm confident. Now it's just for me to not being able to have so much stress, is to just trying to enjoy the moment. A lot of them said that. Can you think, just enjoy the moment? What do you think about this term?
For me, and if I'm authentic regarding to what I tell you just before, good emotions are bad as bad emotions. So for me, is no emotions, and good emotions are can be also something that could put you aside. And I always remember one time a very famous champion in France. She was a swimmer, and she was on the top position. And then suddenly we saw her getting from the first to the second to the third to the fourth place. And then at the end, she came out of the swimming pool and she said, "Yeah, I saw myself. I was so happy. I was the first." Yes. So she was in a good mood. She was confident. She was happy to be there and enjoy to being there. But she was just missing one thing to to swim and to continue to swim. So for me, good emotions are like bad emotion. It's just the fact to accept emotions and just focus on the task.
Okay, and how would you say same thing? I know it's not like this, but an advice to say remove your emotions, because it's so attached to us. What would you say is a key to focus to make sure to not being affected by emotion? The first step.
The first step is to accept the fact that we are necessarily we will have thoughts and we will have emotions. So the first step is to be able to recognize where they are coming, and to have this click inside that if I have this, I'm not in the moment, I'm not in the action. So then when I realize, then accept it and come back with a focus on the game, on the task, on the opponent. And to be able to do that and to be able to be concentrate as long as possible, of course, it's very important to know the scenarios, your strategic on which point you are going to be focused, when and where. And this help you to always have something to do. If you do something, you won't necessarily think to something. So more you have things to do and less you will have time to think about.
So it's also when you were coaching, you were preparing your athletes, and it's almost a case by case. You were preparing before, trying to anticipate what these athletes' emotions might be coming from, and you were working before the event on trying to cancel that or trying to make sure that they can understand where these emotions come from, so that they deal individually differently. It's not like everyone has to do it the same, right? It's a complete process that is individual to each of the athletes that you have.
Yeah, and as coach, I was asking them to think a lot on something that is helpful for the game. So I was always asking them to give me the strategy, to give me the points where they have to be focused on, what they are going to do in this scenario or in this scenario. So it was a lot of their brain was really mobilize, if I can say that, on something important for the game. And so more you have things important to think, and less you give the place to the rest. So as coach, I was really asking a lot on being involved on the strategic, on the scenarios, on different things, and always when thoughts and emotions are coming, come back to what you have to do, simply what you have to do exactly, and concentrate on that and put your effort on that. So it's something that, of course, it's difficult to train this during training, but on each, even small competition, athletes, they have emotions and they have stress. Or I was putting some specific stress on not complicated competition, to work specifically on that, to be able at that moment to stay focused and to keep the link with the coach at that moment. So they are not alone. They don't have to do that alone. I was there on their side to be able to see exactly the moment that they were not in. I was able and capable to see it. So so that was a hard work from every day.
Well, so interesting to hear, and we understand now for sure how you were able to win two-time World Taekwondo Coach of the Year. Thanks to you so much for sharing this. What would you say is one of the best moments that you had as a coach?
Oh, as a coach, definitely it was. I have two. I have to say, but two or three. No, I have a lot. But I remember in 2011, my first final in the World Championship with an athlete, and it was Anne-Caroline Graf. She was in final against a Korean in Korea, and it was the golden point at that time, not golden score, and she won with a punch at the golden score. So it was just amazing, the first title for her and for me also as a coach. So this was one of my best souvenirs.
Amazing. And yeah, what a title, world champion. And it's a perfect transition because today we're also going to break down a special technique. As you know, in Sportsnet TV Live, we like to break down and analyze techniques. And today's technique is the punch. So that's a perfect transition to see how can you basically use the punch, when is it most efficient. And maybe I can let you introduce this technique. How is it used? And you have, I'm sure, a lot of useful information to share.
Thank you. First, what we can say about the punch technique is that it reappeared as an effective technique when the arrival of electronic protection and the rules changed. Mm-hmm. Before 2008, no punches were scored in competition. And today, in terms of data, if we look at the 16 finals of the last World Championship, 10% of the points awarded for men, the weight division, are punches, and more than 5% for women divisions. So these numbers may seem low, but in reality, they are significantly higher than the points awarded for the 4 and 5 points turning techniques, which representing less than 2.5 in average. So 10% for the men and 5% for the women of the points are awarded by punches.
That's very interesting. So you mean in less than 10 years, we went from 0% of scoring to now from 0 to 5 for women, 0 to 10% for men. This is an amazing data to just look about how Taekwondo is evolving as well.
I think for other level, maybe during the eliminations or other tournament, it can be more, but this is really on the top final games. So it means that in important moment, punches are delivered.
For sure, that's really interesting. And also, it's always funny to see how sports evolved. When rules are changed, athletes will do anything they can to try to make the rules fit the result, and the performance. So, and you were saying also that even though it's a low score, one punch in Taekwondo is 1 point. And as you said, there is techniques now. Spinning head kicks is 5 points. So you were saying that even though it's not a very efficient as far as the number of points you get when you score, it's used 10% of the time, which is huge. And also, it's not a technique that you're going to use all the time, but it can come in really at important moments, as you said, golden points. Just to use it at the right time, at the right moment, it can be a game changer for winning and losing.
Yeah. Yes, sure. And that was the case of my best souvenir in the golden score with Anne-Caroline Graf. It was at the golden score. So it can really change a match with only 1 point. And I would add that unlike other techniques, the punch is a very accessible technique to all. It does not require great dexterity. And however, as it's the only technique which remains with the appreciation of the judges, the moment chooses to carry it out and its visibility will be determining. And that does not make the task that easy to score in punch. But I think that even if it's a very accessible technique, you need always to keep in mind that it's the only technique which is still scored by the judges. So it's changed a little bit how you are going to score with that. So the sound of the impact, the commitment to performing the technique will more or less influence the judges to score the fist. And it makes this technique very particular. So you can also play with the appreciation of the judges, not disrespecting them, but we are all human, and if we see something and if we think we see something very obvious, then they will press to score that punch. So and to end on the punch, I would say that like all the other techniques today, the punch can be scored in attack, in defense, or in combo, in sequence.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And maybe to illustrate, because it's always also great to be able to see it in action, we can share the screen right now and you can kind of describe basically what you just said, but watching on the screen as we watch it. So I will now show you some example. So here's the first sequence, Mahama show for the Roma Grand Prix, and maybe you can kind of break it down. I will play it and let you analyze it.
Yeah, so in this in this situation, so Mahama show, the blue one, is doing a punch in attack. So of course it's dangerous because you expose yourself in the distance of your opponent. But as you can see on that specific situation, he was really fast. So he go a little bit down on his position. So it makes the reaction of the other. And then he thinks that it's the moment to go and he can take his opponent with the speed. It's a punch in attack.
Okay, and so one of the skills there is timing and speed, right?
Yeah, and to first also to see the reaction of your opponent. In this situation, it's very, very small detail, but on the other action, you see it more, that when he go down, he tests the other by the reaction, and the other move a little bit. So it makes that he is less efficient in his defense because he reacted before.
Yeah, so it's kind of having a decoy so that he can see that his opponent is going to either relax or adjust, and then he chooses when to go. So that's really interesting. The second action is Bianca Wogden against Milicia Mendic, and I will let you break it down for us.
Yeah, so this is a second punch in attack, but as you can see there, it's in a combo, in a sequence. So she first attacked with the leg techniques, with kick techniques, and then when she approached her opponent, she break the combo with a punch. So it's a second way to attack by punch, and she did it very well because she pushed her opponent near the borderline, and then she know that she cannot go back, and maybe she won't have the possibility to have the distance for her legs. So then she break it. This is a very interesting combo, and this is a good possibility to score by punch.
And it's really interesting to see that. As you said, they are in the middle of trading exchange, and this is, do you think it's more about the experience of having it done so many times, so now it comes naturally? Or do you think she's really reading the moment and decides that that's when she needs to go?
I think she probably, because it's going very fast, but when she starts her combo with the legs, she tried to push her opponent, and she's waiting till the opponent is getting into the distance to punch. So for sure, it's not something. Because if she's doing it just the move before, it doesn't work. So she is really, I think, focused on the moment that the opponent will come and clinch. That's the good moment to punch. And sometimes it's something that you really do it on purpose. That you play with your leg and you know that it won't score, it's no problem, but you wait till your opponent is getting into the distance and coming to the clinch. So this was the perfect distance for a punch, because Bianca Wogden is very tall, and she wouldn't have the space to put her leg at that moment. So I think it was a very good choice, but I think also is a very common strategy to push push the other to go back with the legs, with the front legs especially, and then when the opponent go into the distance, then it's the moment to score with the punch.
Perfect. And so on this technique, the things that are more recognizable is being able to control distance, and also to be aware of the placement on the mat, on the boundary line, and all of this.
Exactly.
And the last one is Maria Espinoza at the Manchester World Championships. And as we can see, she's using the punch in a defensive motion. And once again, I'll let you explain to us what she's doing.
Yeah, in defense motion, but also in defense, because the opponent is attacking, and then she's finding the right moment to defend. So it's a defense. It's a punch in defense, and she continued the action with an attack. So it's also a combo, but first with the punch in defense, and then she continued the action. So you can also find other situation where it's just a counter, like when the opponent is attacking, you're just punching. But it's very interesting to continue the action because she had the place. She had the place because the opponent stay far. So it was a very good opportunity for her to continue the action.
Yeah, so interesting to see that she was calculating that distance perfectly to make sure to be able to just by a step back, being able to counter her opponent. And once the other opponent throws her body, she cannot recover enough, and then that's when she counterattack and she follows. That's really interesting. I think that you said that, because people will stop at just the punch, but then the following technique is really important as well, because she would have had with a double kick an opportunity to score 4 points right away.
Yeah, and as we previously said, also, as you can see here, very obviously, she is doing a very large movement so that every judges can see the technique, even if it's not very efficient as a proper technique. Everybody can see if there is the sound of the impact and the commitment, because she's following the action. Then it will for sure give the motivation to the judge to score that point. And we see it also on the first point with Mahamasho. He is also doing a very large and very obvious movement, so that everybody, the arm is very, very straight, so that everybody see that they were a punch. And you can also give that information by the kiap, also to show that you were punching.
Yep, for sure. And we can see that when she's doing it, Maria right here, she's yelling at the top of her lungs. She's kiaping right here. You can see it on the screen. So if we had to kind of resume, to bring back all the information. So the punch, it's a technique that is used more and more. It is a technique that can change a fight, when to know when to use it. So speed, timing, distance, body awareness, all of these things are really important. And of course, as you said, the intention with the movement and with the kiap to express that you are scoring a punch. All of these tips are really great, and I think the viewers will really like to take that in consideration when doing this technique themselves. Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure. We wish you nothing but the best for your own project, coaching coaches all around the world, and see you next time.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was really a pleasure to share and to be with you.
Thank you so much. Guys, if you want to learn this punching technique, you can go on sportsettv.com and watch the class on the punch. See you next time, and thank you very much.